No. Let me read this again. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Dacia's Digest. Today, we will be diving into pregnancy stories. I saw one come across my whatever Reddit's version of For You page feed, and it sounded interesting. So then I sourced a couple more, and that's what we'll be reading today. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. As always, all of the relevant links and information will be in the description. And if you so choose, you can support this channel by purchasing a super thanks or buying me a coffee. Also, editing Dacia here. I just wanted to give a shout out to All Hail Erica J for buying me a coffee, and Catherine Guest 1729 for gifting me a super thanks. Thank you guys so very much. You did not have to do that. I really appreciate it. Also, for those of you who may not give monetarily, but you give your time and attention to all of my videos, you write comments, you subscribe, you share. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. With all of that being said, let's get into it. Am I the a-hole for resenting my pregnant sister? I, 31 female, am getting married in September to my longtime love. I have a twin sister, 31 female, and an older sister, 33 female, who are both my matrons of honor. So she put S and C. Let's give them names. So the twin sister, S, we'll call her Sally, most basic name, and C we'll just call her Cece. Sally and Cece. My older sister Cece got married in 2017, and my twin Sally got married in 2019. The three of us are close and we get along generally pretty well, but my twin and I tread lightly around Cece. For example, Cece got married in April 2017 and was infuriated with Sally for getting engaged in May after she got married herself. Said she was stealing her thunder. It was a huge deal at the time, but Sally was gracious about it and we swept it under the rug. Okay, Cece is sounding problematic so far. Fast forward to 2023, my sister Cece has been trying to get pregnant for a while, 2 years, and it's finally happened for her. I was overjoyed to hear this news. Sally called me on the same day as she told me she was also pregnant, and I was over the moon. Cece is devastated that Sally is pregnant and is being extremely bitter about the ease of which it happened and the fact she's having a baby at all. Cece is demanding that Sally tell no one, that Cece should get first dibs on her bridesmaids' dresses, and is claiming that Sally is stealing her thunder again. Cece lives hundreds of miles away and is demanding that she have 2 separate showers, one of which is in the town Sally and I live in, and is excluding her from it. Every day I read Reddit and I'm just still so surprised at the characters that I come across in these stories. Cece also made a ginormous deal about her own wedding, bridal shower, and bachelorette. I spent a ton of time and money and flew for her trip. She was not even excited when I got engaged and acted like she didn't want to be on my bachelorette, and is responsible for planning my bridal shower and has basically not lifted a finger and is delegating to everyone else. I find it hypocritical that she says everyone is stealing her spotlight when she's actively not interested in me and my wedding and won't let Sally be happy about anything ever. Am I wrong for being very resentful of Cece and wishing I had never asked her to be co-matron of honor? Edit, both sisters are due early next year, 3 weeks apart from each other. Okay, this, based on the title, the story went way different than what I thought. I thought she was gonna resent her like for being pregnant or something, but really the pregnancy is kind of like just random fact in the story. But I would say I'm not sure if she even understands what she's asking, because I don't see that she's resentful of her sister. I think she's more so just like annoyed. Well, I guess resentful would be the right word, because she's not helping her out in the same way that she helped this. The older CC is not helping out OP in the same way that OP helped CC. I could see where the resentment would be. I would say no. And also, even though you asked her to be the co-matron of honor, honestly, I wouldn't ask her to do anything else. I wouldn't fire her necessarily, because I think that would just cause more problems than you already have. But I would just, whatever duties or whatever you were going to delegate to her, give them to somebody else. And after this whole wedding, I don't even know why you still have contact with someone like this, because she just seems narcissistic. I know that word is thrown around a lot, but that's what she seems like to me. So for the comments, Philip I resent your sister too. Snoo32071 said this: tell your drama queen sister to F off and get out of your lives if she can't manage to be a decent human being. Not the a-hole. CC sounds like an exhausting person to be around. Dead Girl said CC sounds like a narcissist. Okay, cool. And then Outside Performer says, I was waiting for this comment. It seems like Reddit has lots of narcissist spottings, but in this case, the narcissist shoe fits. So someone agrees with me. Kitchen Airy 2391, no, not at all. I can understand her being a little envious of the other sister getting pregnant so easily, especially if they've been trying for 2 years. But what makes us adults and not children is our ability to rise above our feelings and use rational thinking to be happy for others. All this stealing my thunder BS is just that, BS. She wants a continuous stream of attention, and life just doesn't work that way. Life is all about give and take, and it sounds like she hasn't figured that out yet. You know, now that I think about it, maybe she's a little jealous. Maybe Cece is jealous because the two younger sisters are twins and they kind of have like that special bond, and maybe she felt left out in some way. I could see that happening because me and my sister were like, I have a twin sister for those who don't know. And you know, we're like tight. Like I talk to her every single day. And I could see how like other people might feel left out or something. I don't know. I'm just trying to rationalize her actions. Oh, look, someone else said, Trey Ryan 3 says, sounds like eldest child syndrome complicated by being the older sister of twins. In short, she feels she was never given enough attention because at the age of 2, there were 2 new babies in the house that grew up to be best friends with each other instead of her, as well as getting more attention than her by virtue of being twins. Your older sister could probably benefit from some therapy because this seems like an unhealthy obsession to be the center of attention. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Aloria said exactly. Cece went from being an only child to being mostly ignored by her parents while they grappled with 2 babies, and was probably also ignored by her sisters growing up because they had each other. She needs therapy to deal with it. Regardless, she doesn't own pregnancy or marriage or anything else. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it doesn't excuse her actions in any way, and she still needs to get help, but it could provide some context to what's going on here. So let me look at the update. Update, am I wrong for resenting my pregnant sister? My twin sister Sally, female 32, gave birth to her son over 3 months early in her second trimester due to a severe case of preeclampsia. That is very scary. I received a call on a Friday evening saying her blood pressure spiked, which was resulting in kidney and liver failure and borderline seizure. Oh my goodness. This is why I will never be pregnant. There's so many things that can go wrong. You could just be having a healthy, easygoing pregnancy. All of a sudden at the end, blam, kidney failure, liver failure, seizures, blood clots. Like, jeez. They put her on these crazy meds and held off on delivering for 2 days. She ended up giving birth via emergency C-section to a tiny, under 2-pound baby boy. Whoa. It has been one freaking heck of a journey, with both of them nearly passing but I could not be happier to report that they are still recovering and baby will be home soon, 4 months later, but alive and on their way to being permanently much better. Wow. Woo-wee. That's good to hear. That's scary. Update part is my older sister Cece, 33, female, happened to be having her second baby shower that I would have left for the next day, Saturday, that same weekend. When I called to tell her my plans had changed due to our sister Sally being in the hospital on the verge of death, trying to hold off on delivering her baby in her second trimester, Cece's reaction was to break down in tears. It's not what you're thinking. I called Cece and tell her, I'm worried about Sally and the baby and that they both might die due to severe preeclampsia. And she says, okay, through her tears. Not a care in the world about sister and baby, and she hung up on me. Oh, she said it's not what I'm thinking, but that's exactly what I was thinking. I thought what I was thinking that was she was in tears because she was making it all about her. Is it something different? Let me see. My mom calls her next and tries to explain she won't be able to make it to said second baby shower, and sister flips out saying she is disowning her and that she doesn't need us because she has her husband's family now. At this point, we are all cousin, friends, and aunt included. Like, what the F? But obviously my concern is on twin. The whole weekend, Cece's husband is calling, asking if we're okay, borderline apologizing for Cece's behavior and making sure everyone is contacted by him. He is not that type of guy in our family, but he did the right thing, so kudos to him. Throughout the next several days, Sally and baby were recovering in the hospital, and Cece refused to speak to any family, didn't reach out to Sally or husband, and did not even send flowers to the hospital after she asked me for the address. After all of this, Cece just had her baby a week late at over 8 pounds and super healthy, able to go home within 2 days and never once separated from baby. Cece has not said a word about any of this to anyone, no apologies or anything. I have not confronted her yet since I have been so focused on Sally and her recovery and her baby, but it's just widely out of freaking rageous behavior, and most of my family is ready to cut Cece off for good. Would I be wrong to stay silent on this and let Mom and Sally confront her, or should I take one for the team? Another update was, I'm indeed happily married to my love in September. Oh, that's so cute. Honestly, forget Cece, honestly. I wouldn't even be bothered to confront her about this. At this point, I would just cut her off and let bygones be bygones. Because for what? She's not going to change. It's not going to fix anything. You're going to go through this, waste your energy to tell somebody that they did something wrong, which they should have already known was wrong, and then what? Just let it be. So it looks like she doesn't have any additional posts or anything regarding this. So we will move on to the next one. I wish you the best of luck. Leave Cece alone. She don't even deserve the energy from you. I, 26 female, just found out I'm pregnant after having revenge intimacy with the fiance, 35 male, of the girl, 30 female, who my ex-boyfriend, 32 male, cheated on me with for 2 years. That is a lot. No, she had a boyfriend. The boyfriend cheated on her with the girl for 2 years. So OP found the girl's fiance and cheated with him. And now she's pregnant. Ooh, Lord, that's a lot. Why you having unprotected? All right. My ex and I met when I was 20, but were only friends until we started dating 2.5 years ago. I found out last year that my ex had been cheating on me for basically our whole relationship with a girl he met through a mutual friend. I broke things off after I found out and told the girl's fiance about their affair. He ended up breaking off their engagement after he found out, and she seemed nonchalant about it until she realized that my ex's money wasn't actually his. My grandma left a lot after she passed back in 2019, and my ex had been flaunting around the things I'd gifted him through our relationship to her, even going as far to claim that the house and antique car my grandpa left for me in his will were his. It's not something I'm proud of now that I think back on it, but I did allow my ex to walk all over me for the first month or two after I broke things off because I missed him so much. I gave him money and tried to make things work. Oh, she was Bobisha the Builder. She was Pick Misha. Y'all gonna learn to stop giving these deadbeat boyfriends money and gifts. A man that cheated on you for 2 years and you gave him money, sister. Stand up. I haven't said that in a while on this channel. She said, I missed him so much. I gave him money and tried to make things work, but would always get reprimanded by my parents and friends when I'd run to them crying after he ghosted me for her. And I didn't officially give him up until the girl's ex-fiance messaged me and told me that she was rubbing it in some of their old friends' faces about how pathetic I was and how desperate I was for my ex, who didn't even give an F about me. I was really upset and asked him if he'd be willing to meet up with me because I knew that if I talked to my parents or friends about this, then they'd just lecture me even more. He agreed, and the two of us met up at a random food court place. We ended up spending most of the day just exploring and talking about how we were doing. He'd also confided in me about his relationship with his ex. They'd known each other for 10 years, and they'd liked each other for most of that time. They were friends, but he wasn't looking for a relationship because he was focusing on school. He had decided to give them a chance after she'd driven 12 plus hours overnight to him because they'd talked on the phone, and he said he was feeling under the weather and was stressed from how vigorous his residency schedule was. She dropped everything to take care of him, help clean his place, and made him some home-cooked meals after finding out that he was surviving off of vending machine snacks and instant coffee. He told me in detail about how he'd never felt so loved and cared for, how after she'd done that for him, he'd decided that she was the one, that if this wasn't love, then love wasn't real. Finding out that she was cheating for the last 2 years made everything click into place. She'd been pushing off getting married, telling all her friends that she was having doubts about him. He'd been trying to convince her into going to couples counseling when I broke the news to him that she was sleeping with my ex. I felt like a monster. Hearing their love story and then realizing that they didn't get their happy ending because of my ex and I messed with my head. It wasn't because of your ex and you, it was because of your ex and her. You had nothing to do with it. We continued to talk from time to time, checking in on each other and meeting up for a quick bite every now and then. We lost contact after the girl my ex cheated on me with somehow convinced him to take her back. Oh Lord. So he playing Bob the Builder too. He had picked me too. I became slightly depressed after he cut me off, explaining to me that he was still in love with her and wanted to work things out, which meant a clean slate. I found out through some internet snooping that my ex cheated on her too, which was why she went back to her ex-fiance. A few months passed and things went back to semi-normal. I started getting therapy and was about ready to put myself back out there to try out the dating pool again when around New Year's, I got a call from the guy. He was crying and asking if I was available to talk. I, of course, said yes and out of concern, met up with him at his place. He broke down to me and told me how he'd found her and my ex in his mom's guest bedroom during Christmas when she'd snuck him in for a quickie during his family's busy holiday party. All hell broke loose when he'd found them in the guest bedroom after spending 20 minutes looking for her everywhere. No. Let me read this again. She'd snuck him in for a quickie during so it's her fiance's family's Christmas party. You sneak in the man you cheating on your fiance with to his family's party. This is not your family's party. This is another family. You sneak another man in to another family for a quickie? Have we no shame? We drank a bit and ended up being intimate. He apologized and told me that it was a mistake and he wasn't in his right mind, that he just wanted revenge intimacy, but it didn't make him feel any better after. I tried to message him platonically a few times after to see if he was all right, but he blocked me. So I dropped it and went on with my therapy and life. I went in last week to check with my doctor since I'd been getting bad cramps and to get a new prescription refill for my birth control that I used to help with my PCOS. I had to do a usual test to double check for the possibility if I was pregnant and was very surprised when it came back positive. I have been sitting on this new knowledge and have been contemplating on if I should tell him or not tell him, or if I should even keep the pregnancy. My doctor did inform me that since I am still in the earlier stages, I am still at a big risk of potentially losing the pregnancy, so I don't know if I should even be worried at all about all of this since there is a chance I could. And then it just seemed like I was trying to grab at his attention or something, especially after he'd made it clear to me that he wasn't comfortable talking to me anymore after we were intimate. I haven't told anyone and have been going crazy because I don't know what to do. Okay, whoo, girl, that's a lot. I mean, everything else aside, do you want to raise a child and potentially be a single mother? I think that's the only question. If you're comfortable with that, then go ahead and keep it. And also, as you said, I probably would wait until I was further along to even say anything, because as you said, since you do have PCOS and there is kind of that possibility that things might not pan out in the way that you plan, it would be better just to make sure not cause any additional drama. And also, what is he gonna do for you anyway in those first few months? Y'all, it's not like y'all are in a committed relationship, so I don't think it would even be necessary. But that's all I have. There's an update, but let me read some comments. PNK Fly D99. I think if you decide you want to keep this baby, if it even happens, he needs to know. But if not, then just don't keep it and there's no need to tell him. You should just distance yourself from both of these men and find someone who's not a piece of crap. The hat on the cat. I agree that OP doesn't need to tell him if she's still deciding or does not want the pregnancy. However, she also can tell him if she is still deciding or does not want the pregnancy, if that would be useful for her. If I was deciding if I wanted a pregnancy, I'd want to gauge the father's reaction, not because she has to do what he wants, but because it's relevant information. If he has no interest in being there for his kid or helping raise them, then it's a heck of a lot harder. Yeah, I mean, I guess that definitely makes sense. Potential ad 1397. He does deserve to know, but man, you and him need some self-worth. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Stop wasting time on a man who treated you so cruelly. You deserve better, and I hope you're in therapy to deal with this self-hate that you have. If you keep the baby, just think of what you would tell them in this situation. Put your ex out of your mind. The end of their relationship is not your fault. She was cheating on him and sounds like he knew the relationship was not going well prior to you telling him. Ex-boyfriend seems like he's got his own issues to sort out, preferably on his own, far away from you. This is obviously an unexpected pregnancy, and it's normal that you don't know what to do. It depends on where you live, but you have some time to think about it. Do you want to be a parent? Personally, I think getting rid of it is your choice alone, and I don't think you need to tell him if you don't want to. If you choose to continue, then I think it's appropriate to try and let him know. I guess texting and hoping he unblocks you. Not sure if you have any other ways of contact. Yeah, this is a hard situation. Oof. I'm not even gonna imagine myself in this situation. I don't even wanna go there. Okay, so update. I just found out I'm pregnant after having revenge intimacy with the fiance of the girl who my ex-boyfriend cheated on me with for 2 years. A lot has happened since my original post. I know a lot of people were against this, but I went through with the pregnancy and I am forever thankful for my beautiful baby. Oh, that's so cute. I was hoping she would keep it. I mean, I'm pro whatever works for the person whose body it pertains to, but I was hoping she would keep it. I had originally planned to not keep the pregnancy, but I found myself unable to go through with the appointment. I am pro-choice and always will be, and just because I chose to keep my baby doesn't mean another woman or girl should be forced to keep a pregnancy they do not wish to continue. Everyone has a right to their own bodies. My parents were very upset with me, and my whole family disowned me. Dang, that's kind of harsh. Over a pregnancy? I listened to what some of you said about letting the father know. I will be referring to him as D. After many failed attempts to reach out to him, I decided to go in person. D was not happy when I showed up at his place, but when I told him why, he agreed to talk to me. D let me know that he'd officially ended things with his ex and wanted to go no contact with me because I was another tie to his past with her. But he was willing to try and figure out a co-parenting plan with me if I agreed to a paternity test first. I, of course, felt a bit bad about the paternity test part, but agreed to it since we both had only been acquaintances that bonded over our trauma. Everything was honestly easy cruising until I started to spot around the 26-week mark. My OBGYN explained that while spotting is normal while pregnant, mine was heavier and my blood sugar and blood pressure were also worrying because of gestational diabetes and preeclampsia risk. After a few nights of D insisting on sleeping on my couch, I had him help me move some of my things to his place since he lived closer to the hospital. Now he cleared out a drawer for you. I am very thankful I decided to semi-move in with him when I did because I went into premature labor at 32 weeks. I am very thankful to have had D and his family as my support system. His mom would come and switch out with him at the hospital and advocated for me whenever I felt washed out or unheard. She helped me both emotionally and physically and stood by me. Dee's mom also helped me work through my emotions when all I wanted was my mom. She and my dad had gone no contact with me after I decided to keep and have my baby. Wow, that's terrible. Dee's mom was an absolute godsend also because she's a retired nurse. She started in OB, went to NICU, and eventually later settled into lactation before retiring. Oh wow, so she has a lot of experience with babies. She explained things to me when we found out that my baby had respiratory problems and had SUA, single umbilical artery, and that it could have been a factor into why I went into premature labor. She stayed with D&I so she could help me with pumping since I wasn't able to produce milk, and encourage me when I felt like such a failure for not being able to take care of my son when he needed me the most. She drove me to and from the hospital. Woo, I don't know why I'm getting emotional. Sometimes when I read these stories and I just read about people who are just like such good people, like just to the core good people who go out of their way to be there for others, it just makes me so happy and like emotional. I feel like crying. I won't, but sometimes when I read these stories, I just get so happy. She drove me to and from the hospital while my son was in the NICU because I was healing and so mentally and physically exhausted. I really and truly believe that I didn't fall into deep postpartum depression because she held me and helped me with each step and was always so patient with me, even when I wasn't with myself. Dee's mom would constantly remind me that nothing was our fault and no one did anything wrong. It's just that everyone is faced with hardships in life, and this was one we'd work together to get through. My son graduated from the NICU and came home after I did. Dee's mom visited us often and helped with him since Dee and I are first-time parents. Dee's dad joked that he felt like she and I had the baby together, and he and Dee were both just background characters that make guest star appearances every now and then, since Dee was working so much in order to build more PTO, and his mom wouldn't bring his dad along when she'd come visit since she didn't want him to disturb me and the baby with his loudness. Dee's dad is hard of hearing and can sometimes be unaware of his volume, so he took no offense to it. Dee's siblings and family members posted a lot about our son because he was the first grandchild and first baby in a long time. Dee's youngest cousin is 17, turning 18 this year. Somehow, someone must have shared a photo or something, but pictures of us reached my family, and my parents demanded I let them meet my son. Boy, I knew it was coming. Because how you gonna disown me for having a child, but then demand to see that same child who you disown me for? Make it make sense. I knew it was coming. And how you gonna demand to see my child? Dee was supportive of whatever I chose to do and said he'd agreed to them meeting him if that's what I wanted. After thinking about it for a few days, I decided that I wanted to talk to my parents before I let them meet my son. Good, that's exactly what I was thinking she should do. Because you're not finna have a relationship with my son and not me, period. When we met up to talk, my parents were offended that I didn't bring my son with us and left him with Dee's parents. They said some really hurtful things, and then my dad started to question on when Dee was going to ask him for permission for us to get married since we didn't already have a shotgun wedding while I was pregnant. Oh, Lord. Her parents are insufferable. They must be Christians. I say that as a Christian myself, but I just know how some Christians can be. You should never get married because of a child. That is not a good thing to do. If the two of you feel that you can be married and have a successful marriage, that's one thing. But things happen, and a child does not make a marriage. Like, it just, the thinking that some people have, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. I was okay with them insulting me since I'd grown up with it and was used to it, but once my parents put their target on Dee and his family, I became upset and decided it was time for us to leave. My parents did try to petition for legal visitation rights. Honestly, before this whole ordeal, I didn't even know that grandparents' rights existed, but they were denied because my son is still very young and because both Dee and I are very much on good terms, are living in the same household, and they couldn't find or prove that there was any danger to our son's well-being. My family did try to reach out to us and claim that we were horrible people for denying my parents their grandchild, but no one ever seemed to be able to make a peep when Dee's family would defend us and point out that my family had been the one to disown me and that no one cared to see if I was okay until after I had the baby and everything was handled. Dee's mom and my mom got into a verbal, almost physical altercation after my mom had made false reports to CPS. Oh my goodness. After my mom had made false reports to CPS and called the police to do multiple welfare checks on us. My mom was given a warning by the police for harassing us after one specific incident where she threw a tantrum and caused a scene when the police found nothing wrong in the welfare check and refused to listen to her demands to have my son temporarily taken from us and put in her custody for his safety. Dee and I currently have restraining orders pending against my parents and certain family members. That's so crazy to me. You were so adamant about me not being pregnant and to the point where you disown me, but now you're trying to fight for the child that you were upset that I was pregnant with? It doesn't make sense. One of the reasons I decided to update is because about 2 months ago, a friend of Dee's asked him out to have some drinks, and they ran into his ex-fiance, who later messaged him to tell him that she regretted the way they ended and how she was very hurt when she heard that we had a baby together, especially with it being so soon after their relationship. D wouldn't talk to me about how he felt, and when I asked him, he just brushed me off or switched the conversation onto a topic about our son that he knew would distract me. I noticed D pulling away from me and how our relationship became a bit awkward and strained after their run-in and her message, because I know he still has feelings for her, and I'm afraid that he might feel trapped with me and our son. Wait, are they together or what? I mean, obviously they have a child together, but are they in a romantic relationship together? Because why would he have to feel trapped? I don't know. She's not clear on that, but I don't know. I also noticed that the drama with my family has made D and his family less patient with me and my son. During Mother's Day, I overheard a few of his family members make comments to D about me being at their family barbecue since I was just my son's mom and not really part of the family. D just shrugged and said I didn't have anyone else to spend the day with. Dang. That sucks. Dang, her parents are really like effing things up. Dang. With how tense things have been, I have been thinking about moving out and back into my place. I stayed with D at his place after I gave birth, but now that our son is slightly older and I am healed, I want to give D back some space so that he can start dating again if he wants to, and to give him back some more bachelor time when I have our son. I want to find a way to approach me moving out and us making a co-parenting plan without making things more awkward or possibly ruining the relationship I have with D and his parents. I don't want them to feel like I'm not grateful or anything, but I do want to go back to work and get my life back on track so that I can provide my portion of needs for my son and not depend on his family for more than appropriate. This person said exactly what I was going to say. Candid Quail, be honest and tell him exactly what you said here, that it's time for you to start to get your life back on track and also give him back his life, that you will always be co-parents and how special and important his parents are to you and your son. Tell him that you want a healthy relationship with him as your son's father and wish him the best, same as he would for you. Just be honest as you find your new normal. Yeah, unless something else has happened, I don't think that it would really change much. I don't think that they expect her to be there forever anyway. So honestly, I'm sure he's probably thinking the same thing and just doesn't want to bring it up because he doesn't want to like offend her or anything like that. But it's been working so far. Like, don't let these outside influences ruin what y'all got going. Sounds like y'all have a very healthy co-parenting relationship, no drama, a very supportive grandmother and grandfather. Don't let these other family members and friends and outside influences affect that. Y'all will be fine. So this was 2 months ago, and then I think she has one more post regarding this. It's shorter, but it says, maybe I'm overthinking things. I've been trying my best to not check my phone or Reddit since I'm honestly a little overwhelmed right now. I will let you all know that I did talk to D and he was against me moving out. He also wasn't willing to talk about the situation with how he's been acting after running into his ex and said I was bringing up something that didn't matter since we were talking about me wanting to move out. I haven't said anything about what I heard during Mother's Day, and I don't think I'm going to mention it since I feel really bad that it was meant to be a private conversation, so I don't think anyone meant anything bad. During our conversation, D let me know that maybe I'm just overthinking or overreacting and that I shouldn't make big decisions like moving out. He also talked about how because our son is a preemie, he'd prefer if one of us was a stay-at-home parent until he turned 2 or 3 years old so he could catch up with his peers, and then once he started pre-K, then we could go back to work again. But I feel like he's trying to avoid me since the conversation, but I could also be overthinking it like he said. After reading some comments, I do feel like I'm valid in the way I feel, but I'm also not sure anymore. I want to do what's best for my son. I know people already think I'm so dumb and that I shouldn't have had him, but I'm trying to be better for my son. I feel like he's the only family left, and I really want to try and do what's best for him. I mean, okay. If you really want to move out and get on with your life, you should move out and get on with your life. This is just your child's father, not to minimize his role in your life, because obviously he will be there for a long time and he has a really important part to play. But if you feel like you need to move out, then move out. Is he gonna unless he's gonna be paying all the bills, and because he said he feels like at least one parent should be a stay-at-home. That's just a risky thing to do with someone who you're, one, not married to, two, not even in a relationship with. If that's what you feel that you want to do, then okay, but I don't know. I still like your idea of going ahead and moving into your own apartment and kind of getting your own life back on track. 2 to 3 years is a lot of time. I don't think you're overthinking or overreacting, because these decisions are going to affect not only you, but also your son. So, I don't know, that's tough. She did respond to a few of these, but this person wrote a really long comment. I will not be reading the whole thing, but they said to pretty much write out a template. So, D, we need to have this talk again. I really need you to listen to what I'm saying. Please don't interrupt me and let me get this all out. And they gave her like some bullet points. 1, I'm not trying to have any claim over you or cramp your style, etc. I want to have a healthy co-parenting relationship. 2, if you want to get back with your ex, that's on you, but I'm gonna move out and keep our son from the drama. 3, I know that your family is not 100% comfortable with me being around, so I'm gonna respect myself and skedaddle. 4, while I know you want one of us to be a stay-at-home parent, I don't think it's necessary. I don't want either of our careers to be stalled, etc. So OP says, thank you. I have been trying to come up with what I want to do next, and I'm not sure, since approaching the conversation the first time was already hard for me to do. Every chance I've gotten since the initial conversation, I've tried to bring up me going back to work and moving out, but D doesn't seem to want to talk about it. We live together right now, but I guess I never realized how busy D could be. I honestly don't remember him being this busy. He did work more after the birth of our son, but he's slowed down on work the past few months, and now he's suddenly picking back up, and I don't know if it's a coincidence or if he's trying to avoid me bringing the conversation up. The times that I do catch him at home, he's either with our son or is extremely tired, and I don't want to bother him during any of those times because I also don't want to overwhelm him or add on to his stress. I also am not too comfortable bringing up the Mother's Day conversation since it's not something I was supposed to hear. And I don't want D or his family to think I'm ungrateful when they've done so much for both my son and I. I'm hoping to wait a bit before I can bring the topic back up, and I'm currently thinking about what I want to say and how I'm going to say it without upsetting anyone. It almost sounds to me like he wants to start heading back to work and progressing in his career, but he knows that he can't do it unless he has her to take care of the baby at home, which is a little bit unfair. Like, again, y'all aren't married and y'all aren't even in a relationship, so she should be able to also start to move along in her career and move along in her life. She shouldn't have to be the only one that has to be staying home with the child. But again, it almost sounds like it wouldn't be possible for, like, I don't know, it's a tricky situation, man. This is why I ain't having no kids. This is tricky. One last comment I'll read just to provide a little bit more context, and then we'll move on from this story. OP says, as sad and pathetic as this sounds, I don't really have friends. Most of my friends were through my family, or they didn't agree with me having a son with D. Not only that, but also a big majority of my friends are still friends with my ex, and we drifted apart because I found out that a lot of them knew about his cheating but kept quiet about it since they knew him longer. I was going to therapy, but because I was so busy after I gave birth, I haven't gone in a bit. I do plan on going back to therapy, but because I am not currently working, I also don't have the best health insurance right now, and everything would be paid in full out of pocket, so I've been pushing it off since I have already dipped so much into my savings. Girl, go back to work. Go back to work. Go back to work. Between the two of you, I'm sure you could find some sort of a schedule that works to where one person can be home and the other person is working and vice versa. But you have to start getting your life moving. You had a tough time with your son within the first few months. You got through that. Now you got to get into the next phase of your life. And you can't just be, if you want, because according to him, it sounds like you have the option to stay home, but it doesn't sound like it sounds like you want to move on with your life. If that's what you want, that's what you do. Go ahead and start putting them applications and get yourself a job. You ain't even got insurance to go to therapy. No, you need to. Let's go to the next story. Okay. Now, this one does not have an update. This was posted a couple of months ago. Am I the a-hole for kicking out my pregnant daughter to live with her boyfriend since she decided that she wants to keep the baby but not be a mom? I'm 35 and the mother to a 19-year-old girl. We live in a state where terminating pregnancies is legal. I had my daughter very young and I don't regret it. 1935, so she had her daughter when she was 16, but I would never encourage it due to how hard it was. I had little to no support and would never wish the pain I went through on anyone. My daughter's father passed when I was pregnant and she has no stepfather. It has always just been the two of us. I was kicked out of my home the second my family found out that I was pregnant, no questions asked. We haven't been in contact since then. I've since moved halfway across the country and I will not ever be reconciling. My daughter has been dating her boyfriend for roughly 4 years now. 4 years since she was 15? Dang. Her boyfriend is the same age as her and not a bad kid, but he is still a child in my eyes. They both are. Her boyfriend still lives with his parents and refuses to go to college. My daughter wanted to be a nurse, but is now deciding that she won't pursue a career because she wants to be a stay-at-home mom forever. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. You're going to be a stay-at-home mom to a teenager who lives with his parents? Listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. You're foregoing a career as a nurse, a very lucrative career. We always need nurses. You will never have trouble finding a job. To be a stay-at-home mom at 19, I promise you, if you are reading this, I promise you, you have so many years to be a stay-at-home mom. You don't have to do it right now at this exact moment. I promise you. Even if you were to wait 5 years, say you go to college, get your degree, you'll still be 24. Maybe you have your daughter, work a couple years, have a kid, work a couple years. See how it is. Let life happen first. Have more experiences outside of this little bubble that you've created for yourself. Because when the bubble pops, you may or may not have some regrets. Oh man, this is so worrying. I hope. So the story says she would have been going to school this fall, but decided to unenroll before it began. Now I will say, I am not the person who believes that college is the only option. I feel like these days there's so many other ways to be successful, to have careers, etc., etc. But you gotta pick one of those ways. If it's not gonna be college, then what is it gonna be? What's the plan? But you can't just sit at home and do nothing. When my daughter came to me 2 weeks ago telling me that she's 2 months pregnant, I sat her down. I did not want her to go through the same things I went through. I asked her how this happened, and she said that it was planned. She and her boyfriend mutually decided that they wanted to be parents, and this horrified me because she knows all about the struggle we went through together and that I went through alone. I regretfully called her stupid and was upset, but told her that we can work through this together. Since she decided that she was keeping this baby, I gave her stricter rules. I told her how it works, told her what's going to change, and that she will be getting an education under my roof. These terms are non-negotiable. Girl, you should have been acting more strict before the baby came. Maybe the baby wouldn't have came. My daughter did not like these terms. She fully expected me to allow her boyfriend to move in, who is unemployed, by the way, give her her college fund as money to spend on the baby, the two of them as a couple, and whatever else she wants, not pursue an education, and still go out whenever she wanted. Oh, sis was delusional. I told her that I will watch her baby when she's at school and for a few hours a day when she does homework. I also said that I will watch her baby on Saturdays and Sundays alone so that she can still have fun and be somewhat of a teenager. I wish that I was given one day out of the week to recharge, take a break from being a mom, and enjoy my childhood. I know that this is very lenient, but I love my daughter. We ended up arguing almost every day, and my daughter's demands have gotten out of hand. She claims that they're very unfair, and I told her to look up what teen pregnancy is like and what motherhood is all about, because the conditions and rules that I gave her are very, very lax. I told her that if she will not abide by these rules, then she'll have to live with her boyfriend's family. She cried and yelled at me, but I put my foot down. She ended up moving out 3 days ago. We've never had a fight like this. We've argued about petty things such as sleepovers and parties, but it was always resolved within a few hours and was never serious like this. I've texted her multiple times that if she changes her mind on the pregnancy or the rules, then she's more than welcome back home, and that I will always love her no matter what she chooses. I also told her that she'll always be my baby girl and that I didn't want her to go, but we have no space for a full family, and being a mother means that your entire life will change. My heart aches. I love my daughter and feel like I failed her as a mother despite being so involved. She knows all about safe intimacy, was never bullied. We were basically best friends, though I am still her mother and she has always known that. It isn't just fun. I do discipline her when I have to, and we get along amazingly. And we do everything together. I never thought that this would happen. She had no better reason to get pregnant than I wanted to be a mom and I'm ready. But she isn't thinking about what a mother actually does. I know I made single motherhood look easy, but it never was. I worked 2 and 3 jobs for the majority of my life and didn't eat some days so that my daughter never went hungry and always had nice clothes. I only finally got a real job as a nurse 2 years ago after being in and out of school for over a decade. Am I the a-hole for kicking her out? I thought that this was the best thing to do to teach her that things will be changing. I want her to come home, I really do, but if she won't accept these new rules and understand that motherhood is not easy, I can't just let her back in willingly. I feel like such an a-hole. First of all, she said, am I the a-hole for kicking her out? You didn't kick her out. You set boundaries, you set rules for her to be able to stay in the home. She decided not to abide by these rules, so she chose to leave. You didn't kick her out. She chose that. All I'm gonna say is I'm gonna pray for the young girl, because I don't see anything good coming from this at all. You're having a baby by an unemployed man who lives with his parents. Neither of you have any education above high school level. It's gonna be tough. That's all. It's gonna be real tough. I'm gonna wish her the best. And the fact that she thought that you would just give her her college fund to fund her life so she could just fulfill this little fake fantasy of being a stay-at-home mom is crazy. Why would that even be? So OP only has one comment on this post, replying to someone. She said, if her boyfriend got a job and helped pay rent, I would be more than happy to consider it and figure something out. We live in a 2-bedroom apartment with little space. A baby would take a lot of money and space, and so would another full-grown human. I do not want them to be split up, but if he got a job or went to college or decides to pursue a trade, I'd be more than happy to figure something out. I wouldn't charge anything outrageous, and would also help with baby expenses and helping them with government aid. But I can't just allow them to move in with no goals in sight and no money. I don't make enough for that, and even if I did, I would not allow it. I don't know what his parents are thinking or going through at the moment, even though I've reached out. They have 6 children of their own, so I know that their hands are full, and children are always coming in and out. I assumed that the story wasn't said in full, but I had texted them letting them know that my daughter is very welcome home and that I want all of us to figure something out together. They have not yet responded. Well, she don't know now, but she gonna find out. That's all I got to say. This was 2 months ago. So now she's about 4 months pregnant. God willing, she about halfway, a little less than halfway through. I hope she's preparing. I hope the boyfriend got himself a job. I mean, this is reality. If you choose to have a kid, like, who chooses to have a child with no money, no place of your own? You live with your parents. How are you gonna be a stay-at-home mom living under your mom's roof? Oh, goodness, these people stress me out. But that is why I have included palette cleansers in these videos, which means that we will be going to the last read, which will be a palette cleanser from the Malicious Compliance subreddit. So just take a second to double check and make sure you're subscribed, and I'll go into this last read. Work my hours or we'll find someone who will. So there I was, working at a mid-sized IT firm as a software developer. My team had always been pretty laid back, focused on results rather than the exact hours we were glued to our desks. Our projects were delivered on time, our clients were happy, and our team morale was high. That is until we got a new project manager. Let's call him Dave. Dave was fresh from a highly regimented corporate background and had ideas about proper workplace management, which basically meant micromanaging everything. He'd schedule unnecessarily daily status meetings, demanded we fill out hourly work logs, and insisted that everyone strictly adhere to 9 to 5 office hours with minimal breaks. One day, during one of his infamous efficiency crackdowns, he sent out an email with a new policy that all coding must be done strictly within office hours to ensure collaboration and supervision. This was ridiculous because creative work, like coding, often requires flexible hours for maximum productivity. But Dave was adamant, and he ended his email with, "If you think you can find a loophole, think again. Follow the rules, or we'll find someone who will." Another case of people coming in and changing things that don't need to be changed. Challenge accepted, Dave. I decided to comply meticulously. I coded strictly between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., not a minute earlier, not a second later. If I encountered a bug or was in the middle of a complex piece of code, too bad. 5 p.m. means the end, no matter what. My teammates, fed up with being treated like school children, followed my lead. The results were predictable. Projects that usually took a couple of weeks started dragging on. Tasks that we could have completed in days with a bit of overtime took much longer because we couldn't capitalize on the bursts of late afternoon productivity we were used to. Our workflow was severely disrupted, and the quality of our work started to deteriorate. Dave noticed, of course. He had to answer to upper management for the sudden drop in productivity and lack of commitment, which he knew was a result of our dissatisfaction with his new policy. When upper management called for an impromptu Zoom meeting with the entire team at 4:30 p.m. to address the ongoing project delays, the entire team logged in to explain our situation. In the meeting, Dave spent half an hour shifting blame and berating individual team members. He didn't even mention the 9 to 5 policy that had led to the whole situation. As the clock ticked towards 5 p.m., the tension in the virtual room was palpable, and our team hatched a plan over text. Right on cue, as the clock struck 5, one of the employees spoke up, In compliance with Dave's 9 to 5 rule, we must log off now. Without missing a beat, every team member clicked leave meeting, leaving a stunned Dave to face the executives alone. This abrupt mass exit highlighted the impracticality of Dave's rigid policy, making it clear to the executives that change was necessary. The incident, quickly dubbed as the 5 o'clock Zoom exodus, led to another meeting where Dave was publicly admonished and instructed to abolish his strict rules in favor of more flexibility. And as for me and my team, we made sure to celebrate our little victory with a well-deserved happy hour after 5 p.m., of course. I love it! I just don't understand these stories where these managers come in and they change everything. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But that's how people are sometimes. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.